Hello, YouTube. It is Tuesday night, and we're going to play a little bit of Phantasy Star Online. So it's been a little while. I put the shout out on Dreamcast Now. I put the shout out on the Facebook group. So hopefully we'll be able to see a couple people very shortly. I haven't really jumped on to see if anybody's actually in Pioneer, but typically we find, one or two folks. So what's been going on? Well, a whole lot of crazy stuff on the internet, which I hope we can get to later. I've been following a lot of that silly Channel Awesome drama. Probably don't want to hear about that, but it's funny nonetheless. That Bully Hunters thing was absolutely ridiculous. And there's a whole bunch of different Sega Dreamcast news actually coming out, including some stuff coming to Switch. So yeah, I'll probably elaborate on that in a little bit. But before we get started, I just wanted to show you guys a few pickups. So lately I have been sort of being very discretionary on what I pick up because I have a lot of stuff. And unfortunately, I made a bit of a impulse eBay purchase recently. And it's very cool. I got it for very cheap, but I don't know where I'm going to put it. At first I thought maybe I could fit it over in this area here where I seem to have some of my tape deck, my VCR, my color corrector, and that's all like the section I use to transfer analog media to digital. But it doesn't quite fit. It's just way too big. So let me show you what I'm talking about. It is Dreamcast related. You may have seen one of these things before, but it is called let's see if I can get it all in frame here, the Dream Station. Okay, let me see if I can get it up there. And it is basically a case, I guess, that you put underneath your CRT TV or monitor, and you store your Dreamcast or PlayStation stuff in. I thought this was really cool. I thought, okay, sweet, I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to store my Dreamcast stuff in it. But it was just a little too large. This thing would have been great back in the day if you had a CRT TV, or even now if you have a CRT TV and you want to store your Dreamcast stuff. If you look on the side here, it kind of gives you an example of what the setup might look like. And actually, the back's kind of the same. But you kind of get the idea. It is a very large, durable plastic case. And I got a complete in box for 30 bucks plus 10 bucks shipping. When I saw it, I hadn't seen one of these around before. When I picked it up, I noticed a lot of people selling them afterwards. So I don't know if maybe there was a influx of these things hitting like new old stock or whatnot. But anyways, I got it. It looked cool. I don't know where I'm going to put it. So maybe at some point I'll get a CRT TV set up, but I kind of highly doubt it. I think this thing might end up being used to trade. Speaking of which, this thing here, before we get started, I really want to show you guys. So this actually was a trade. I walked into a local game store recently, and I typically don't go to this spot. I find their prices are very high. The staff there is generally pretty cool. I don't have anything against the staff, but yeah, the prices are generally pretty steep, and I get it. It's brick and mortar. It's got to be competitive, blah, 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 but these prices are beyond what I see in other brick and mortar stores. There is a great game store here in Toronto called Buy and Sell Kings. The guys look totally sketchy, but they have excellent prices, and the dudes are actually really cool. This store here, terrible prices on games, but there was one thing when I walked in there, because I go in on my lunch break or whatever, and I try to check things out, and maybe I'll get a deal. I saw this on the shelf, and I was like, oh fuck, it's gonna be a ridiculous price, but it wasn't. Now it was still a little bit more than I would have wanted to spend, but I thought, okay, I have some stuff at home, maybe I can bring it in and trade and get some credit. Sure enough, I had a ton of things that I just don't need anymore. Typically, just like a lot of PlayStation 1 games that were kind of just, they don't have any value to me whatsoever. A lot of commons, like $5 to $10 games that I never grew up with, but I picked up later on. I was just like, I don't need these. I can play them on various other systems, including my PSP, which is typically how I play my PlayStation 1 games nowadays. And there's also my PlayStation 3, which I soft modded. I told you guys about it. Anyways, I'm digressing. Traded them in, got a lot more trade credit than I thought. Still, relative to their prices, not a whole ton. Ended up getting $80 in trade credit, but this thing here was only 60 bucks, and they don't charge tax on trade credit. So what is it? Well, I'm a big fan of Res for the Dreamcast rather, and you guys are probably familiar with Res Infinite, which I really hope to get soon, actually, and I'll tell you why. But they released a limited edition vinyl soundtrack. Oh, it got caught here a little bit. Let me just slide it in right here. And it is a thing of beauty. It is, here's the slipcase. Let me just show you guys that there. This is the little Res guy. And when you open it up, it is just a gorgeous book. Yeah, there's not much else I can say about it. It is great. It contains two 12-inch LPs, one on this side, plus a whole gang of artwork from the game. And it also includes a 7-inch single, which is located here, and the second LP as well. Anyways, I got it for 60 bucks. Nowadays, I see it flip for between $200 to $300. I guess what I'm getting at here is if you want to buy games, don't go to a game store. But if you want to buy vinyl, give it a try. You never know what you're going to get. So anyways, I was really impressed with that. I put it on. The soundtrack is fantastic. I have my new computer now. You might notice that things are going to be a little bit smoother. Hopefully, I ended up getting, actually I built it myself. I got an Enthu full tower. Beautiful thing. I ended up getting the TI 1050 dual video card. I also got an Aorus motherboard. I ended up getting a Thermaltake Water 3.0 for the CPU. I ended up getting the Intel Core i7 8700K processor. What else did I end up getting with this thing? Right now I'm just running off of 16 gigabytes of Vengeance RAM, which is quite fine for what we're doing now, but I'm going to upgrade it a bit in the future. And there's a couple of odds I'm going to add to it, but overall works fine. Running Windows 10 seems to work pretty well. But yeah, now that I have a new computer, I can finally play things like Res Infinite, and I'm probably gonna get a VR setup for this thing because the motherboard says it's VR ready, so we'll see what that's all about. And who knows, well, I might bury myself in computer games for a little while, but we'll get into that in a little bit. In the meantime, let's stop wasting time. Let's fire up the old Dreamcast and see who is online. If you see that I have a little earpiece here, it's because typically when I would do these streams, I would actually not be able to hear what was going on. What ended up happening was I would kind of just guess what the sounds were on the other side of the screen. What I was doing was I was turning off the volume so it wouldn't come through here. I had really no way of splitting the audio properly. I could put in a monitor here, but unfortunately it would monitor off the computer, not the actual game. So I'm experimenting with a rather high-end splitter, so there's no static or loss or anything like that, and just going through the ear so I can actually hear what's going on in game, which are great for things like Frantic Fauna when you have to pay attention to that little ghost thing that chases you around. So all right, what's going on in the chat? Here we go. Hey guys, welcome aboard. Bandicoot, you nailed it. ANC Games, I didn't want to say anything, but hey, you put it out there. They have the worst prices in everywhere. They're so ridiculously high. The staff is pretty cool there, don't get me wrong, but you're looking at spending, if you were to buy the same thing on eBay, typically for a game, you're going to be spending at least two, mostly 3 to 4 times what you pay on eBay. Plus, these guys have an eBay store. They justify their prices by saying that this is what eBay is charging. You got to be competitive, but it's an Ouroboros, right? It's the snake eating its own tail. They put their stuff on eBay. It sells for high. They end up having to increase their in-store prices because it's selling on eBay for higher, and around they go. So I don't know. I like some of the staff there. They're pretty cool to talk to, but I do not like the prices at all. They used to have good prices when they were located. If you're in Toronto and you've been there before, they used to be at a different location, and this was before retro gaming got kind of crazy, and the prices used to be half decent. I'd go there every once in a while, and they'd be a touch higher, but you'd pay for the experience of going into a retro game store. Now they've expanded. They're huge. They're in a major hub area of Toronto, and yeah, the prices are just, to me, unreasonable. So I typically don't go there, but you know, it's like anything else. You go there, you just want to window shop, and then you find something that you really want. So okay, let's see if anybody's got a quest going on. Organize team, join a team. Oh, sweet. Can't join, game in progress. All right, well, let's see if we can find out who is in game. Oh, sweet. Cool. All right, let's message them. We got 3 other decent players. If you guys want to play, want a 4th, let me know. Cool. All right, so we put the word out. Hopefully we can catch somebody. It looks like somebody else has joined us, so let's see who we got here. Oh, sweet. Everybody is done. Hey, you guys finish your quest already? I think I just sent Lucid an email, actually. Yeah, I heard that they were on Game Chasers, actually. And you know what? A lot of people that come through Toronto end up going there. It's got a beautiful store, don't get me wrong. And the rent must be insane for where they're located. But man, you got to understand, I'm coming from a place where the majority of games that I picked up that are retro, the majority, I bought way back in the day, like late 90s, early 2000s. That's when I got all my Nintendo stuff. That stuff has taken a little bit of a dive lately, but not by much, not compared to how much I spend on stuff. We're talking about like a quarter, 50 cents, $1 a game when I was buying them. Now, you know, you can't even buy commons for less than 10. Anything that's sort of high end, you're looking at spending between like $50 to $100. That's like low mid range, and then like mid range, you're looking at spending between $100 and $300. And then you've got the very elite stuff, which I don't have to tell you, it goes for way too much. So when I walk into a store like that and I see these prices and I think about how much I paid for the same stuff, I can't wrap my mind around it. You know, they've got a display case where they have a first issue of Nintendo Power, and it looks in okay shape, and they want $100 for it. I'm thinking, like, I think I bought my first 30 issues of Nintendo Power for $10 with posters and everything. So yeah, it's just really hard for me to like justify spending that kind of money, you know? Okay, so Lucid is no longer in game, or maybe Lucid wasn't in that team at all. Maybe they were just joining as I was messaging them, and that's why I saw them. All right, cool. So let's find out what Lucid's plan is, and maybe we'll message some of those other guys as well. Guild card, choice search. If you guys need a 3rd, let me know. Cool. All right, so we sent that out there. Lucid's in game. All right, we'll give Lucid a couple more minutes just to kind of get settled. You never know. Sometimes they just kind of join the game and they're not quite prepared. They're just waiting in the lobby for other people to show up. So how's life? Life's been great, man. Can't complain. Just really busy, especially with the kind of work I do. It's the weather's been terrible in Toronto, and in fact all of southern Ontario. All I can say is go home, April, you're drunk. We're getting way too much snow here, so it really sucks, but it is what it is. Okay, simple mail, received mail, almost. Don't, if you don't mind us finishing. No prob at all. I'll start a alt game and then send mail. Whoops. Let's get out of here. I should probably guild card that person. Choice search. Any. Just let me know when you're finished. I'll jump out and we can do VH to level up the other guy. Sweet. Okay, cool. So it looks as though Lucid is a bit distracted, so why don't we just jump into our own game until we hear back from everybody else. Create game, PSO version 2. UGB, and let's go to Alt, and let's register. Sweet. Game audio is super low. Okay, well, let me increase that just a little bit. Thanks for letting me know. Let's bring it up just a bit. All right, so hopefully that is a bit better there, guys. If it's not, let me just adjust a few things. Like I was saying, guys, I'm just kind of figuring out the settings here. All right, there we go. Okay, let's go to the Elgato properties and let me know if the audio is any better there, guys. Oh, we lost the Elgato. There we go. Perfect. And we're back. All right, guys, let me know if the audio is a little bit better. I do have it turned up just a little bit. Let me go to advanced audio properties, Elgato, volume. Let's bring it up 150%. There, that looks a little bit better. Monitors off. Okay, sweet. Okay, that should sound a little bit better. All right, sweet. Okay, so let's jump out to let's see. I think we got to pick up our mag first. So let's see if we can grab that. Again, guys, let me know if the audio is super low. Again, I did turn it up a little bit. It sounds good in my speaker, but then again, I'm just listening to a headphone, so it's kind of hard for me to tell. Okay, so what's the situation on here? Do I need die mates? No, inventory is full. Definitely get one of these. Definitely get one of these. Okay, boom. All right, guys, let me know if you're still getting a buzz from the audio from the game capture. Hopefully that helps a little bit. Hopefully you're not getting any static. You're just getting the actual audio from the game. If not, what we can do is we can replace that cable and I'll just plug it in natively. Okay. Take item parts for that Dreamcast. There we go. Perfect. Okay, guys, let me know if you're still getting buzz from the game stuff, and if we're not, hopefully it's been fixed. I did pull out a couple of audio cables, so you would have heard some things shorting out. So okay, item pack. Our mag looking like? Can we feed it yet? Not quite yet. Okay, equipment. What do we got? Okay, let's get our Android rifle equipped, and let's equip our mag. Sweet. And let's use our mono grinder. Yes, please. What else do we got in here? Anything else that we need? Okay, sweet. We're good. Okay, so let's equip that and jump into the game. Holy smokes. So everybody lost power from Friday until 5 p.m. today. That is crazy. You know, that happened here in Toronto one time. It's funny. So Canada, well, I shouldn't say Canada. So some of you guys might remember that blackout that we had in 2000, which I found kind of hilarious, and especially people that were not from Toronto at the time. Now, I wasn't living here. Oh, sweet. Let's find out what that's all about. I was living in a town called Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. I spent a lot of my time in northern Ontario at that time. And power goes out all the time. You just don't really think about it. It's just one of those things. It just goes out. So the power went out. I still hear a little buzz. Nothing too annoying. Okay, so you know what I'm going to do actually, guys? Hold up. I'll continue my story. Okay. Properties. Let's bring that down. And let me know if this helps. Okay guys, how does it sound now? It should be pretty good. I've unplugged the splitter. Unfortunate that the splitter is causing that much interference, but I guess it is what it is. I'll try and figure out a better way to get that monitor sound out. Actually, in the meantime, let me just plug this so I can at least hear a little bit. It might go off a second or two, but wouldn't be too bad. Now it's super loud. Yeah, sorry, I didn't adjust the volume at that time. But now it should be fixed. Okay, headphones, yes. All right, so let's just fix this here. Thanks for bearing with me, guys. It's been a little while. Like I said, I do have here we go. Let's bring it up to 15 and monitor output. There we go. Sweet. Okay guys, let me know if that sounds a little bit better. Never mind, it's fixed. Sweet. Okay, cool. Thanks a lot guys for bearing with me. I'm gonna spend some time on my own and figure out how to fine tune that. I kind of hoped that what I did with the splitter would have made it kind of foolproof because I bought a higher end one, but it appears as though it still has problems. So anyways, as I was saying before, I was in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario at that time. And power goes out all the time in Northern Ontario. It's just one of those things you never really think about. It's just power goes out and you just wait till it comes back on. Also, you have to take into consideration when you live in Northern Ontario, you also learn to become a little bit reliant off the grid. So, you know, you have wood stove and all that kind of fun stuff in case the power goes out and you just kind of wait it out. So in 2000, when the power went out, everybody kind of, I guess, lost their brain a little bit for a while, and the mayor at the time of Toronto ended up calling in the military to remove the snow, which was kind of hilarious. And here, let me just bring this audio down just a little bit. See if that's, let me know if that's too low for you guys. There we go, that should be pretty good. And it kind of became the joke of Canada for a little while because of that. So a few years ago, most of you will also remember that we're in Toronto at the time, that we lost power for about 4 days. And the thing was, you know, when I was living outside of Toronto, I never thought about it that much. It was just one of those things, you just kind of wrote it out. But being without power for 4 days, when you live in an urban setting, you realize how vulnerable you really are. Like, you can't do those things that you could do in rural Ontario, rural anywhere really, to just stay alive. Like, you can't just start a fire to stay warm. That option's not there. You're gonna burn your house down, or you're gonna get arrested for starting a fire. So you're really limited. You just kind of gotta grin and bear it, you know. It was kind of interesting though, because when that happened, some really weird things happened in my house. Like, for one, after day 3, my tropical fish died. You know, there wasn't much I could do. I tried to save them the best I could, but you know, they succumbed to the elements. It is what it is. But things like the paint in my house started to separate, which was really bizarre. Transit was down, so I wasn't going to work. what else happened? It was just, I don't know. You've really made you respect, you know, a hot shower when everything came back on, though. That's for sure. So if there's anything I can say about losing power for a couple days, is that it really makes you appreciate modern conveniences, and also kind of makes you wonder, like, how did people do this 100 plus years ago? You know, these conveniences have only been around for a short period of time. To think how people survived back in the day is just mind-boggling. But okay, let's see what we got here. Simple mail, received mail, done. About to be in the main lobby in a minute. Okay, cool. Coming out. Cool. Coming out. Confirm. Yes. Yeah, the stream can be a little unpredictable, but mostly it's because I'm trying this new setup. I shouldn't say new setup. It's kind of the old setup, but I'm using a brand new computer, and because of that, I had to go back and reconfigure a bunch of different things and try to make it the best I could from the way I had it before, because it was pretty good. But now with the new processor and everything like that, the new video card, hopefully everything runs a bit smoother and just a little bit more crisp. That's what I'm hoping. Okay, so let's get out of here, but let's feed our mag first. Item, mag, Dreamcast, give item, Diemate, yes, give item, Diemate, yes. And slowly but surely we're getting ourselves a decent mag here, guys. It's a long time coming, but we might actually have something worth using. Okay, so let's go back to Pioneer in the lobby. Let's get ourselves a little bit of a group to go out there and do some hunting. Okay, 1 second. I just have to move one thing. Okay, perfect. Okay, so they said they were going to be hanging out in the lobby. As of now, I don't see anybody, although they did say they were going to be back in about a minute. Okay, cool. So there's old Ben. Hey. Hey. What else do you say in those situations, right? Yeah, sure. If you want to jump in there, Woolhat. Thoughts on the Shenmue remaster? Password is sleep. Okay. Okay. Cool. PW is sleep. Hey, hey. Want to jump into the game? Okay, I can wait. What's up? Okay, so why are we waiting? Shenmue remaster. If the footage they showed is actually what the remaster looks like, I'm honestly unimpressed. It doesn't look like there is any other dude doesn't speak a lot of English. Ah, okay. Okay, no prob. The textures don't look upgraded at all. It does look a lot clearer. It does look a lot sharper, but it looks like the old game almost identically. Like, I don't know what they're doing, and he's on Dream Shell. Ah, that sucks. Probably not a good idea to play then. He won't be able to keep up. Only problem is he can't raise. Yeah, if there is too much going on, his game will crash. Oh, that's too bad. Yeah, so the Shenmue remaster, the footage that it showed, like, I don't know, I was really underwhelmed. I can get a pretty good picture. Like, I think the compare and contrast they were showing, actually, if you want to be honest, was from a composite signal. I don't even think they were using VGA because those colors look so muted and so blurry. Like the colors didn't look blurry, but the pictures did. And then they showed it in contrast to the remastered footage, and yeah, it looked great. But we've been doing Ruins Quest. Cool. Let's do it. It didn't look that impressive to me. I'm sure it'll be a great game. Maybe they can add something different to it. Who knows? But it in terms of like a remaster, like when I think of a great, like Shadow of the Colossus was a fantastic remaster for the PS3. I haven't played it on PS4. I don't plan on getting a PS4. But that looks way better than the PS3, obviously. The PS3 remaster, you know, it was in a true widescreen. Now the PS2 version, you can actually output in 16:9, which looks half decent. But it's just that it has a lot duller colors. The frame rate is all over the place. So with the PS3 version, that really fixed all that. The frame rate is super smooth. It doesn't drop. The colors look great. The textures are a little bit more improved. There's a little bit more detail on them and stuff like that. But that was a fantastic remaster. When I played through that, I was really impressed. This one here, I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do different with it to make me want to buy in. Shenmue is a very interesting game. It has a lot of different play mechanics that take a lot of getting used to. If you haven't played the game before, you kind of got to jump in to see it, to know what I'm talking about. When you zoom in, you're using an analog stick to move around. The walking around is kind of clunky, to be quite honest. I didn't really enjoy that aspect of it. There's a lot of different little side quests and things that take a little bit of, I shouldn't say getting used to, but... Okay, so are we joining this game here? Yeah, we are. But it wasn't the type of game I thought it was going to be. Not that that's a bad thing. I was expecting more of like a GTA type experience, but it's a little bit more different than that. The story is fantastic. Really original. So we go to the check room first. Sure, why not? Okay, following you guys. But what really interests me is what is going to be released on the Switch. He may need a room after getting what? Those last two badges. Nice. Kinky. Yeah, I'm really interested to see what they're going to bring to the Switch. I don't think they'll bring PSO. I think they're going to bring probably Sonic, probably Crazy Taxi, because that gets ported to everything. I'd really like to see things like Grandia 2. That would be excellent to be... Okay, I don't want to grab that Scape doll because it probably is the better hands of somebody else right now. Okay, bye. Scape doll, yes. And let's stock up on our die mates while we're here. Bye, thank you. Perfect. I'd like to see even some Japanese exclusives like Akuga. That would be great. Border Down would be fantastic. Like putting some of those shooters in, especially like for the Switch, that would be fantastic. Even maybe some of the exclusives that you don't really hear too much, like you won't see the Lost Golem or anything from being transported over, but maybe even some PAL exclusives like you know, Headhunter. That would be fantastic to see on the Switch. What else? Like some of the racing games that you play. When I think of Toy Racer, like that's a fun PAL game. I don't think it'll. And you know what? I changed my mind. That's not really a game that you would want to play on a solo campaign. But definitely Headhunter. That's a fantastic game. If you haven't played it before, I suggest downloading it and giving it a try. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see where they pull from and see what they ended up porting over to the Switch. Now, I did hear that they are probably going to put out a next generation Switch next year. And I've been saying this is going to be happening for ages. Everybody knew it. Like with all of their handheld consoles, they put out so many different variations, right? And people were saying, well, it's only in the second year, you know, I can't see them putting out one so quickly. Generally, the consoles have a 5-year lifespan. This is all very true. But Nintendo has had a history of like every 2 years redoing their handheld consoles. When you think of how many different versions of the DS there were in its lifespan, like you had the standard DS, you had the DS Lite, you had the DSi, then you had the 3DS, the 3DS XL, the DSi XL, the new 3DS, the new, you know, all of these different versions of the same console, right? And all within what, 10 years? All these things came out? Actually less. I think it's more like 8 years, because hasn't the new 3DS been out for, at this point, I believe 3 years? I could be wrong now. Then I think the original DS came out in 2006. Could have come out in 2004. I don't have Wikipedia in front of me, so don't quote me on it. But anyways, regardless, they constantly put out different variations of their consoles. We all know that. And then it's only a matter of time before they put out a new, better Switch. So that's kind of what I'm holding out for. And it'll be interesting to see if these are just eShop exclusives, or if these are games that are going to have, you know, hard releases. Now, I'm not totally against eShop exclusives. When the 3DS had all of those 3D remastered Sega games, I thought those were fantastic. I actually purchased quite a few of them at the time. I purchased Outrun, I purchased, what else did I purchase? Did I purchase Sonic? I can't remember. I think I purchased at least 4 or 5 games. Space Harrier, I purchased that, and they look great in 3D. They're fantastic ports, and the prices aren't bad either. I think they're about $4 or $5. Not terribly expensive. But, you know, the Switch has so much more potential just because of being able to play things on the go. Now, the Dreamcast games, that's great. Like, I'm really excited to see what happens there with the Dreamcast games. What I'm more excited to see is what happens with the Sega Saturn ports they're putting out. I can only assume they're going to put out, now from what I understand, they can't port Panzer Dragoon Saga from the Saturn over to the Switch because the source code was lost. But there is, I think, what is it? Panzer Dragoon Legend? I can't remember the full name of it exactly because I don't have a Saturn. That was also a fantastic game, and that would be great to see ported over to the Switch. There's also a lot of, like, Sonic CD. Well, that's Sega CD. I guess I shouldn't say that. But, yeah, like, the Sega Saturn had a very limited library, but a bunch of really interesting games. Now, I kind of alluded to what I think would be a better thing to port over, which would have been Sega CD. Then you can get things like, you know, your Snatcher transferred over, Sonic CD, which is a fantastic little game. They've already put Night Trap onto, I think it's just PC. What was it remastered for? I can't remember if it went to console or not, but I mean, that wouldn't take much to get licensed if they're going to license all the other Sega properties. But anyways, yeah, it's enough to get me. Well, I've always been interested in the Switch, and I've always had an intention of getting a Switch, but it's definitely something that's made me kind of want to get it even more. Like, I can't wait till I get the newer version of the console. There's so many fantastic games that are out for it, and I'm kind of missing them. But, you know, there's always time to play them, and the handheld aspect, you know, that's, I don't have to tell you how invaluable that is for people that are always on the go, or people that might not have access to their television as often as they would like to anymore for any various reasons. But yeah, you know, I'm really excited when I finally do decide that it's the right time to buy in. If they have those Sega exclusives, I will be extremely happy. And even though I was saying that the Shenmue remaster doesn't look that great, to play it on the go, that is where the real difference comes in. Like, even if it's just a standard port, if the price is right, like if it's like a $20-$30 game, sure, why not, for Shenmue 1 and 2. But, you know, I'm not going to spend $60 on it straight out the gate to play a game that I've already played before. I would like to, it would be really cool to see if you could transfer your old save data from the the VMU over, because then you could jump into things like Shenmue 2 pretty quickly without having to play Shenmue 1. So if you haven't played Shenmue 2 before, it really helps to play through Shenmue 1 because you can actually carry your character data over to Shenmue 2. You don't have to play it from scratch, and it really helps out. I do have both hard copies, but I never got around to playing Shenmue 2 yet. I've always heard it's a fantastic game, and I have no doubt it is. I was really happy to get the copy that I have for the price that I paid for it. If some of you guys have been sticking around since the older streams, you remember that eBay lot that I ended up convincing a guy to sell me locally, and then I ended up selling the doubles that I had to make up for what I paid for it in cash, which was the way you got to do it, guys. Don't go into the red for this kind of stuff. Stay in the black. I actually got ahead $20 at the end of it all, and I ended up keeping Shenmue 2, an upgrade copy of Skies of Arcadia, an upgraded copy of Grandia 2, a boxed Sega Dreamcast, a couple of boxed controllers, some boxed VMUs. What else? I can't even remember what I got. A couple of games that I didn't have, and then yeah, I just sold all the doubles and got my money back. So it was a pretty good deal. But yeah, that's kind of my 2 cents on what's going on with Sega. They have announced actually recently that they're going to put out the Sega Mini, which I guess is going to be the competitor to the NES and the SNES Mini. Well, I shouldn't say competitor, but you know, they're releasing it because those systems have been so successful. But those systems are, from what I understand, like true FPGA boards with the games on a ROM chip, which is the way you want to play it. From what I understand, they're using AT-games, which use emulation. Now, a lot of people are upset about that because AT-games has notoriously had, not the greatest quality for their, particularly Sega Genesis releases. Now, I did have one of those Sega 40-in-1 game little mini consoles that could play actually cartridges as well. I thought this was going to be the catch-all solution for my setup. It was kind of smaller, which is sort of nice. It could play the games, plus it had the built-in games as well. The only problem was the games that were on there, maybe about a third of them were actually original games. The other ones were just sort of like mobile style portable games. It was really sad. And it could only output in composite mono, which is terrible as well. And the actual cartridge part of it was not as compatible as you would have thought, and it used emulation as well, which really stinks. But I ended up getting rid of it, and I do actually have one thing that I actually kind of enjoy. I'll show you here once we get over. So I'm going to switch the camera over and just show you guys what I'm talking about real quick. So it's this guy right here. Now, this is the AT-games portable Sega Genesis, and I actually kind of like this thing right here. So it charges up via USB, and you got your screen there, and you got a bunch of different games. And I don't know, I kind of enjoy it actually. The sound is not fantastic, but the picture is pretty good. And the games don't seem to have any problems with it at all. It also takes an SD card up top. And yeah, it's a nice little system. For what I paid for it, I only paid $2, but I know most people that bought it new paid about 50 or 60. You could add your own ROM files in through the SD slot, which is a good idea. And yeah, I don't know, I just find it to be a handy little system. Now, I don't really play it that much. I just kind of bought it as a novelty because it was so cheap when I got it. Because I can use things like my PSP to play Sega Genesis games instead. It does have a disadvantage of not being able to put in save states or save your progress in role-playing games, which is why it comes preloaded primarily with shooters and arcade-style games, mostly because you don't really save those. You just sort of pick up and play, get as far as you can get, and then turn it off and turn it on again when you're interested. So, I can understand people's you know, people being upset with the @Games releasing this thing because they kind of know what to expect at this point. I don't know the specs on it. I do know they will be using emulation, but who knows? Maybe they'll blow us all out of the water. Apparently, they've been announcing on their Twitter that they have been listening to the community, and their plans are to actually put a lot more effort into this than they have in previous consoles that they've released. So, you know, we'll see what they do. You know, I'm holding up hope that they're going to release a decent console. It would be nice to have something that is a truly licensed Sega console product. It would be nice if it had a cartridge slot as well, but I doubt you're going to see that. And the games that I think they've announced thus far are things like Phantasy Star. What else did they put in? Phantasy Star really stuck out for me, obviously. I love Phantasy Star Online, and the original Phantasy Star is pretty good as well. But I think they're actually putting on a few Master System ports to the Sega... Oh yeah, that's right, we can't use traps. We're in very hard mode. But haven't really announced any Genesis exclusives. You know, we'll probably see the standards. We'll probably see things like, you know, Sonic being transferred over. We'll see Altered Beast. We'll probably see things like Outrun, all that kind of stuff. The stuff that you've seen ported a million different times before, except, you know, now in an officially sort of licensed Sega multi-console. But that being said, I've also got quite a few different ways to play these games, so I doubt I'll pick it up, to be quite honest. I have various emulators that I'm running right now. I have various different sort of box emulation stations. When I think of like the hack PS3 I have, or I can play emulators that way. I also have a RetroPie setup, the PSP, the R4 card on the 3DS, an Ouya of all things. I don't really need this product. That's why when the SNES Classic went out of print so quickly, I wasn't too disappointed. Like, it really wasn't anything that I was particularly interested in. I might have picked it up if I saw it at a store on a shelf and it was a reasonable price, but I definitely wasn't going to be waiting in line or paying scalper prices for that particular set-top box. It's nothing that I'm that particularly interested in. I think a lot of people kind of hold that sentiment too. Like, they've played all of these games, bought most of those games in the past, and just don't necessarily need it. I also own a Retron 5, which actually also uses emulation, but it looks really good. I was playing a couple of Nintendo games and Super Nintendo games the other day just to see what would work. I was curious if the Super FX chip was going to work on the Retron 5, and it does. You know, you can play Star Fox pretty seamlessly. No real hiccups other than the actual game itself, which is pretty choppy. But yeah, I think I've got enough ways to play those old games. It's sort of what I'm getting at. So even though I'm very happy that they're doing this, and I hope it does well, I hope that it puts the Sega name out there and people remember some of these old games and really want to play them again. I just don't think I need it. I don't think it's a product designed for me at this point. So do I have hope for a Dreamcast 2? Not at all. It is completely unnecessary. In fact, I am not interested in any next-gen consoles at this point. I didn't buy into... Well, right after I finished saying that I wanted to get a Switch. But that's different. You know, Nintendo products, typically, you know, all that stuff is stays first-party in-house. So it's a bit different. But anyways... I didn't buy into the PS4 because, for one thing, there seemed to be a lot of ports of stuff that you could play on a PC, so I didn't really see a need for it. Also, I've really become quite sick of buying physical media only to have it have day one patches. Day one patches that make the game virtually unplayable unless you're connected online or to a server. The other thing of having to be always online is kind of a downside as well. I feel like if you have a Steam account and a decent computer, why would you ever need a television console? So I didn't buy into the PS3, I didn't buy into the Xbox One. When they started upgrading the consoles within a year or two of originally being released, you know, I said it's okay that Nintendo does it, but they're notorious for doing it. You know, the PS4 Pro came out, what, 2 years after the original PS4 came out? It's just too soon, you know, it's just, they want you to buy too much and they're really saturating the market. Like, you can get a PS4 now for next to nothing, just a regular one. And even though they said that the PS4 Pro games were going to be compatible with the regular PS4, they were just going to, because I guess that was part of the rule when they did it. We all know that they're going to not design games for PS4, they're going to be designing games for PS4 Pro. And from what I understand too, the DVD and Blu-ray playback on the PS4 is also pretty bad. Like, I guess they can do, from what I understand, they can do regular Blu-ray, but they can't do 4K, which at this point, I mean, what are you guys doing? Like, you need to have 4K output. It's the new standard. Even though I'm quite happy with just regular 1080p, you know, that's the way the market is. Like, people that want to get sort of a future-proof console want to have future-proof things incorporated into it. So 4K is one of those things that kind of future-proofs it. Even though I assume that the next step beyond 4K is probably going to be something like VR, or probably something that doesn't rely on an actual physical screen, you still want to make it, you still want to give the option to your customers. You want to make people feel as though they're buying something that's going to last them a long time. And people know that 4K is out there. People, even though they might not have 4K television like me, want to have that kind of stuff on board in the event that one day I do decide to get a 4K TV. They're not terribly expensive. It's just that the television I have now does the trick for me. I bought it, geez, 8 years ago. And it's fine. It's a plasma Panasonic Viera. It looks great. I have no qualms with it. It does the trick. It's got a 60 hertz refresh rate, so it's great for gaming on. And yeah, it's quite fine. I have seen what 4K looks like. I'm well aware that it looks better, but I just don't feel as though I use my television enough to really justify the cost, to be quite honest. It's just one of those things. So anyways, that's my kind of quick sentiment on a Dreamcast 2. Like, it's unnecessary at this point, just because you can do so much better with a PC. And with all of the DLC, or I shouldn't say DLC, but the patches that you need to put into a... Oh, where did our friend go? They go through here? No, they went around the other side. I just find them sort of obsolete, to be quite honest. Okay, we're going to go through here. Now we lost somebody along the line. We got to find them. Actually, let's take this opportunity to feed our mag. Okay, we don't want area map, we want mag, Dreamcast, give item, Dimate. Let's see if we can get our guy up to level 60. That would be great. Perfect. Alright, what else is going on in the chat? 5K is a thing, really, eh? I had no idea. That's how far out of the loop I am. Okay, here we go. I guess we just want to take all these guys out. I don't know. I find with all of this, so I'm just reading the chat, and somebody mentioned that 8K is a thing as well. Doesn't shock me. Doesn't shock me at all. But I do find there's a point of diminishing returns. I noticed that around the Blu-ray era, because Blu-ray looks great, but the step up from Blu-ray to DVD is pretty minuscule. Like, DVD had 720p, Blu-ray had 1080p. you definitely see a difference. If you get a movie on Blu-ray that they're getting from the original negative, you can tell the difference in picture quality. But most televisions upscale, like at least televisions that I bought from my era will upscale that image the best they can, and most DVD players will actually upscale to 1080p as well. Now, the upscaling capabilities of those devices are quite limited. I'm upscaling this footage you see now to 1080p and have it crushed down to 4:3 aspect ratio. It still looks pretty good. They kind of fill in the gaps, and the output is progressive, which makes it a lot easier. But the information is still not there. Now they're simply upscaling it. They're filling in the blanks with whatever sort of compression algorithm that they use for the upscaler. But when you have a Blu-ray, everything that's supposed to be there is there, which makes sense. Now you go up to 4K, and again, I think the resolution is like 3,900 and something by whatever. It looks great, and at 60 frames per second, the image quality looks hyper realistic to some extent. If you got a good television, you're really going to notice it. But then going up to 8K, I'm just wondering, like, unless you have a very, very large screen that you're going to be looking at, like let's say a screen that is 90 plus inches. Yeah, 8K I guess would kind of make sense, because you really want to have the best picture possible on that. But if you're just watching something on a 50-inch television, having something upscaled to 8K, you're really not going to notice too much, I gotta be honest. Oh sweet, we need that. Where's the defense material? Can we grab it? Okay. Oh shoot, okay. Alright, let's go here. Let's feed our mag real quick. Okay, we can't do that. Let's tag these guys, save our friends. Boom, boom, boom. Now we just heard take out one of the gunners so we don't get paralyzed. Let's see if we can find them. So one thing that I think you're going to see a lot more of is, like, I use the Google Pixel. I also have recently been using the Google Daydream, and that looks really good for what it is. Definitely isn't perfect. You can see a bit of this sort of hexagonal pixelization sometimes in the image from where it's being blown up from your television screen, or sorry, your phone screen, but it still looks really, really good. I'm very, very impressed with it. The VR on YouTube is still a bit laggy, but you know what? It looks pretty impressive for what it is. Like, when you think that you're using your phone to look at VR, and everything kind of has this, like, it fills up a lot of your peripheral vision, so it gives it a lot of depth and a lot of, like, I don't know, it makes things look much bigger than they actually are. But I can kind of see if they are able to make that where you don't have to wear a big bulky headset or wear glasses or anything that's attached to your face. That's the thing with VR that really takes you out of it, is the fact that you feel the weight on your face. So you don't feel like you're completely immersed. You always feel like, you know you're in some sort of simulation, speaking of which, we're complete. So I think that's the one downside to it, but yeah, when you think about it, when you're saying like 8K is a thing now, and Sony wasn't even willing to go to 4K, it really makes you wonder, like, I mean, okay, I think there was a secret door up here that we can go to. Isn't there something up here that we're supposed to go through? It opens up, something like that. I think Kuroheim showed me it at one point, or Kurohime, however you want to pronounce their name. Okay, so let's go and feed our mag. Yay! Bang. Bang. And bang. Okay, cool. Let's follow our friends here, see where they're going. Alright, so which room is this? This takes you to Pioneer 2, okay. Okay, so how do we get out of here? Oh, steel weapons badge. Nice! Okay, so are we missing... What did we miss? We screwed up somewhere, didn't we? We were supposed to... Are we supposed to shoot these things or what? Oh, here we go. Machine stop. It looks like somebody's changed this. Okay, are we supposed to just shoot it or what? Alright, where did everybody go? Did they leave? Item, area map. And everybody left. Okay, cool. Alright, let's jet out of here then. Let's go back to Pioneer. Bang! And let's see what our friends are doing. Okay, so speaking of game pickups and stuff like that, I want to show you guys this real quick too. So PS3, I love my PS3. I ended up finding a copy of Catherine, $3. Great little bizarre game. Couldn't get enough of that. I did have it downloaded on the PSN, but I really wanted to have a hard copy just because, you know, it's such a strange game to play. You guys really got to just play it to find out what I'm talking about. But really kind of a unique game. Okay, so let's drop this thing right here. Item. See if anybody can use this. Anyone need this? I know I can't use it, but maybe another character can. Dunno. Can't use it. I'm a droid. I'm dumb. Okay. Let's go here. Do I have anything with the Techer? No, I do not. Alright, let's see if we can sell some stuff. What do we have here? Actually, we don't need to sell... Well, we'll sell this. And... let's use our Android rifle. Item pack. Equip. Here we go. An item pack. Let's use this. Let's use this. Let's use this. And we're good to go. So let's re-equip this weapon here. And we're all set. Okay, now can we feed our mag again? Dreamcast mag. Yes, we can. Oh, shoot. We don't have any diemates. We got to solve that problem. Okay, bye. Diemate 10. Thank you. Get out of here. Item, mag, Dreamcast, give item. Yes. Okay, sweet. Level 60. Nice. Okay, we're finally getting to the point where we want to be with this mag. Getting kind of frustrated when we started playing Ultimate and we weren't doing so well, but I think we're finally starting to get to the point where we can actually hold our own a little bit. Like our mag is just getting there. Once it gets over 100, you're really going to notice a difference, but... Okay, so let's throw our mag deposit item. Dreamcast mag, yes. Yes. Okay, and let's get our reward from the counter and see what's going on. Now I know we missed probably some side quests. I apologize for that, guys. but it is what it is. Okay, let's talk to our guy here. I think we did pretty well on this quest, actually. Like, I didn't die, of course. Hey, 30 photon points. Nice. Okay, we're gonna have to fix one of our weapons at some point too. So, okay, cool. So we're going to the lobby. What else did I pick up? Now this is really, really interesting. So this I saw just because of the name alone. Now you look at this and you're just like, whatever. It just looks like a crappy toy keyboard, right? But look at that name right there. Get a good look. Tandy. So this is a Tandy programmable organ. Now Tandy is the company from Radio Shack. They made a bunch of computers back in the 70s and 80s. When I saw that, I was like fascinated by it. And did some research. I could barely find any information on it. So I'm gonna take some pictures. I'm gonna send it to some people that I know collect this kind of stuff and see if I can kind of get an idea of what this thing is, kind of get an idea on its value. I only paid $3 for it, but yeah, I'm really kind of interested in what this is all about. And I also found this book, which really speaks to me. It's called Treat Me Like Dirt. Not because people treat me like dirt, well, not everybody, I guess, but it is the history of the Toronto punk rock scene from 77 to 81, an oral history, which I'm really fascinated with. So really kind of excited to find that. Okay, guys, good game. I gotta jet for the night. I'll be back tomorrow, probably. Work is slowing down. Alright, later, guys. Cool. Alright, so let's save our character as well. Save one. Bang! There we go. Okay, so let's get out of here. Save. Quit game. Yes. Okay, so we're doing a proper shutdown. And finally, now, I was so happy to get this. I think I've talked about it before in the past, about my history with things like bulletin board systems. And if you don't know what those are, they're the precursor to the internet. Now, I saw this documentary many, many years ago, about a decade ago, in fact. And I've always wanted to have a DVD hard copy. And finally, I was able to find one. So it's this right here. It is Bbs the Documentary. Now what this is it is a documentary on the BBS scene from the 70s up until basically the 90s when it fell apart. It's very comprehensive, a lot of really great interviews. You can watch this for free on YouTube. I know that, but I've always wanted to have a copy to myself. So finally, I've got a copy. I got it for a very good price. It's very coveted nowadays. Don't look on Amazon. It'll blow your mind. I definitely did not pay anything close to what they're charging on Amazon for it, but very happy to have this little documentary. And I've been throwing it on in the background. It's about 8 hours of information on bulletin board systems, which is crazy. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching tonight. I really appreciate it. I'm sorry for all of the long periods of time where we're not playing. I think I've mentioned it before. I've sort of alluded to it. I've been just particularly busy the last couple of weeks. It's just trying to get some life things in order and stuff like that, and it's really been kind of taking me out of the game, which is fine, but at the same time it kind of makes me a little sad that I don't get to chat with you guys on YouTube. So anyways, I really appreciate it. Be sure to like some videos, subscribe if you haven't subscribed. That'd be excellent. There's some donation links if you feel like throwing me a couple pennies here and there. Again, really appreciate all the comments. I get back to them when I can. I apologize if I don't get back to them right away. But in the meantime, everybody have a wonderful night. Thanks for tuning in. Let's try and play a little bit longer tomorrow or Wednesday. I'm going to really shoot for tomorrow, but Wednesday is when Dreamcast Live plays other games other than PSO. So let's see what we can do with them. It'd be really nice to kind of spice it up a little bit. And another thing, I have been playing a lot of this recently. So this is my Game Gear. Now I showed you guys before, it's been modified heavily with a McWill LCD screen. I also have VGA out. Now I was thinking, I've been playing Shining Force a lot. It is a fantastic game, and I realize by not reading the instructions, I've missed a lot of the nuances in the game. I thought it was a very simple real-time strategy style game, but it is not. It is actually very complex, and I really want to play this through for you guys. I was thinking maybe we could try that at some point. The game itself looks beautiful. The gameplay is superb. It seems simple at first, much like PSO. Like it's got a lot of things to it that you don't realize until you actually start experimenting with it. And yeah, I was just overall really impressed with it so far. Now I'm in chapter 3. I'm not sure how far it goes exactly, but I think I'm going to finish it, and then after I finish it, maybe we can do a once through where, now that I've made my mistakes in the game, we can play it through together and correct those. So anyways, we'll see what happens. In the meantime, guys, have a great night. Thanks for watching, and I will talk to you soon.